Good evening and welcome to another episode of My Fiber Fun. Well, you guys, it has been a long day and I'm just now getting myself settled. So I did want to, as promised, come on and give my review of Michaels. And then let me show you. I am working on my safety shawl. And as you all know, just a second here, y'all. I'm reaching because my living room is a mess, and you will find out why in a minute. I got an inheritance today. Remember the late cousin I was telling you about who passed away about a month ago? I'll get to that in a minute. But as you know, I bought my 4 Stitch Soak Scrub. So these are the colors I went with. And what I'm going to do is I want to stock up on this. So every month I will buy 4 of them. Especially if I have a coupon, then I might do a few more. I love this material, and this yarn has bounced around. I've seen it at Myers, then they quit selling it. It was originally at Joann's, and they quit selling it after about a year. Now it's at Michael's, so I better get it while I can, especially with the revamps, because they might decide not to sell it anymore. I want to have enough to have scrubbies. I bought my 2 glow yarns, and this brings me to having 12. One was sent today for a prize, and then I used half of one to border my last shawl, the patriotic shawl. So I said I will probably, because my stuff came to only $37.88 with that 30% coupon, so I think I'll set my monthly budget at about $40, get these same items, and then, of course, build on my embroidery spools. And that should do it for me. That will be my budget, my Michaels budget for the month. Now, once they bring the revamped yarn in and whatnot, then I may venture into some other yarn. But as you all know, I have a yarn hoard. So technically, I don't really need yarn, to tell you the truth. So I will but this I need. And the glow yarn I need. So I'll keep just buying that. So that's what I purchased today. I was very satisfied. I said I would rate Michael, and I'm doing it in 2 categories. Well, 3 categories. Customer service, the yarn supply, and the accessory supply. Surprisingly enough, first of all, it wasn't so bad that I would never go back. I've been to Michael's before. It's just been a couple of years. The last time I went into Michael's was when my great-nephew was about to be born. I went there to look for some baby yarn because Joann's, they had just the regular color. So I was like, let me go to Michael's and see if they have something different. And they did. And so I purchased the yarn, and I made his baby blanket with that because my niece wanted something different from your traditional baby colors. So I was able to find a yarn that had different colors, yet and still it matched his theme, you know, his room theme. She went with more natural tones. So I was able to get like non-traditional baby colors, yet and still it went with the flow of his room. So therefore, I scored at Michael's, but that was 2 years ago. He was born in February of 2023. Yeah. So it's been a while. That's the last time I've set foot in there. Okay, so today I set foot in there. So I am keeping the same song, you guys. I just need to write the words. I was coming up with the words off the top of my head, but I am going to use the Messing with Michaels as the theme song for whenever I go to Michael's, but I will have words to sing to that song. That will be the permanent words. So give me time to write the song, y'all. It should be easy enough because it's only going to be that little flow that I did today, you know. But I'll come up with words that will match at least, or rhyme or something. But I like it. It's catchy. Not message to Michael's, messing with Michael's. I think that's cute. Okay, anyway, and I hope I don't get a copyright strike for singing it. I guess if I used the music to the song, I would, but I'm just singing it, so hey, we'll see. Okay, so anyway, alrighty, so, I'm ready to go to the next subject. Okay, so on my scale of 1 to 10 for yarn, although the glow yarn was there and the Stitch Silk Scrub, which I already knew were there, as far as as a whole yarn, I have to give it a 1 for now. For now. Now it's not gonna remain at 1. In fact, I could probably give it a week 2, but it's just not a lot of yarn there. It was, they had yarn, but it wasn't enough for any type of project. Like if you wanted to make a blanket or something like that. But I understand they are revamping. It's been confirmed to me on the last video from a Michaels employee that they are indeed revamping. Now, the ladies at Michaels told me that they were bringing in edging, whatever that means. But that little shelf that was clear, I have a feeling that they are going to restock and revamp because they've already done it in that one video I saw, and then Creative Grandma was told the same thing. So perhaps the lady at the store I was at just don't know or whatever. I'm a believe that they are going to do it, especially since Joann's has closed. They're going to want those customers locally. There's too many local yarn shops and there's too many online yarn shops for Michaels to mess up. They can't relax becoming the monopoly. And they're really not the monopoly. Well, we don't have a Hobby Lobby in my city, but I have a feeling, I've said it from the beginning, I have a feeling that Auburn Hills location is going to become a Hobby Lobby. If it doesn't, I will be surprised. If it does, I will not be surprised. I've said that from the beginning. This is the best time for Hobby Lobby to swoop in my city. Now, there is a Hobby Lobby I found out in White Lake. I thought that the closest one to me was 25 miles away in, I think it's Clinton Township or Shelby Township. It's far. Too far for me to be driving there. But now, so I can see them coming. And so I have a feeling that's what's going to happen, and I'll be on the lookout. And as soon as I know what that Joann's becomes, I will be letting you know, because it's going to become something. It's in the suburbs, and the suburbs do not believe in blight, okay? Thank God I'm right on the edge. I'm in the inner city, and our Rite Aid that closed right on the corner from me, well, up a few blocks from me, is blight, okay? And it has been for almost a year. September will mark a year. Now, this is the inner city, so, yep, we get the blight. Suburbs don't. Okay, so anyway, so as far as the grading system for the yarn, I'm going to say 1. A strong 1, weak 2, but I'm going to say just 1. But customer service, I give it a 10. Accessories, I give it a 10. There was not an accessory there that I could not find. And then there were some surprises there. They had that granny square, and it didn't really, I don't think it captured on camera. I had the phone all kind of ways. I'm going to try to do better. But anyway, they have the granny square deck, which is like a deck of cards, but it's different granny squares. And then they had that booklet that had the yellow dot. And the lady was like, I don't know what's up with this, because that yellow dot should have meant clearance, but it wasn't. It rung up at the price, which was $25.99. I will definitely be going back to get the granny square deck later this month. I will do that once I get my retirement. That'll be from the retirement budget for yarn. So I'm going to get that because I've been wanting that. Online, that granny square deck costs $20, but that's not including shipping. At Michaels, where they have it, where I can get it right away, is $23. I'm certain that that extra $3 is going to be a lot cheaper than what the shipping costs would have been for getting it online. So I will definitely be purchasing that granny square deck. I definitely want that, because y'all know granny square is my favorite stitch. So just to have it for that reason alone. Okay, that book of stitches, I'm going to eventually get that. I may get it. I'm not going to get it this month, but if it's still there next month, I may get it. I like that. But like I said, 10 for customer service. There were lots of customer service people on the floor There were lots, they were helpful. The lady at the fabric counter was very helpful. I got my black fabric for the bags. So I'm getting ready to start, and I got the perfect amount. So all I have to do is fold it in half, sew it to the bag, and I'm done. And then of course I have to, I'm gonna have to bring it, it's because it's long, but I'm gonna have to, do the edging. So I'm gonna get started with that. I think I'm gonna do this first because I want those market bags ready for when I go to the farmer's market starting in June. And then my safety shawl, that can be finished at any time. Okay, so I'm going to take a break with the safety shawl and starting tomorrow, I'm going to start getting the bag liners made, and then I will show you the finished result when I'm done. And I'm going to take my time with it too, because I haven't sewn in years, and I'm doing it by hand. But I can get them done probably one in one day and one in the next day. Okay, so overall for Michaels, let's see, I said customer service, accessories, both high 10. In fact, it's the top of the line. And then that 1 is what brought the overall rating down. But I know it's going to change. It's not enough to stop me from going there because I was actually pleasantly surprised. Even the prices I felt were pretty reasonable. Now, I don't like that Caron cakes being $12.99, but other than that, I thought the yarn prices were reasonable. I thought the accessory prices were reasonable. They were actually cheaper than what we paid at Joann's, okay? Those OttLites, the prices I saw were cheaper than what the prices were at Joann, because I used to look at the OttLites, while I was there. So there's a lot of things that Michaels had Joann's beat with. I saw a Happy Face rug, y'all. I said, I'm going to go back and get that if it's still there. It's an outdoor rug, though. I want it for in the house. It's a Happy Face rug, yellow with the smiley face. That's my favorite symbol, okay? The happy face. And it was only $24. I really thought that thing was going to be about $50. And when I saw the price, I was like, whoa. So next 30% coupon, I might, if that happy face rug is still there, I may have to get it, okay? Just because. And I will probably put it in my greenhouse. More than likely, I'll put it at the entrance of my greenhouse for when you first walk in, or just on the floor or something like that. But I love the happy face. And it's an outdoor rug. It's one of those scratchy type rugs, for like a welcome mat. So anyway, I'm going to go back and get it, okay? Alrighty, so my overall score for Michaels, I said a high 7 or a weak 8. We're going to give it a weak 8. I'm going to put it at an 8. Believe it or not, because I thought Michaels was going to get a thumbs down, I'm never going there again, or whatever. But no. It was actually a nice store. I figured the floor is a little dirty, but I went mid-afternoon, so the floor is going to get dirty. But as far as cleanliness, neatness, everything was in its place, because y'all know the past few months at the liquidation store, we were dealing with basements, okay? I ain't lying. It was like a basement. It stunk. They didn't do no cleaning, nothing. Okay, so it was a breath of fresh air to be able to go in a nice store and everything was organized. You saw workers on the floor organizing, stocking shelves. I mean, it was just a full functioning store. And you know what? Surprisingly enough, and I think a lot of the Joann shoppers are coming to Michael's, it wasn't the same camaraderie because, Joann's, it was second to none. But I talked to people, we didn't even discuss the Joann's or anything like that. We were just talking, just to be talking. And so I noticed that, the camaraderie. So that's something I knew I was going to miss from Joann. So to just have a little bit of it. It may not be every time I go to Michael's or whatever, but just for people to speak when they walk by and you talk to people, in line, that type of thing, that happened on today. And like I said, all the employees, they were smiling, they were friendly, and they talked, and everything. They welcomed me because I told them I was new. And all that stuff. And she was like, but I see you have a Michael's credit card, which I don't use. I used it one time and I just applied for it just to be doing it. And it will not be pulled out. It would have to be one of those deals where glow yarn is 10 cents a ball or something like that, then I'll whip that thing out. But other than that, no. Okay, so that's it for this portion of the video. Well, you guys, why I was so busy today, my cousin called me. I never told y'all, and this is a cute story. Once again, here we go. And I'm going to try to keep it short. But it's a happy story, for me at least. Anyway, my cousin called me. She knows that I like antiques, and so does she. She has an appreciation for antiques, and so do I. You know, I watch Antiques Roadshow. I've had the opportunity to go to the Roadshow. I took my great-great-grandmother's punch bowl. My mother says she received it from her slave master when she was released from slavery. Come to find out, it's a 1929 press bowl. But my mother was born in 1940, so she may have received it, because now, being from Oklahoma, you know, that's where my mother's from. You had a lot of Native Americans that owned slaves. You know, that's just the point of it. My great-great-grandmother was 100% full-blooded Native American. And so therefore, but she was in slavery, she and my great-grandmother. And so they were released. So they were basically like indentured servants or whatever. And so they were, I guess, owned or their masters, or I don't know, the people, they were just friendly with them. They always spoke highly of them. And then I read the slave, they have these slave narratives, and I read the Oklahoma narratives, and a lot of them back then, when some of the former slaves were still alive, they spoke highly of their, you know, the Native Americans spoke highly of their Native American people. Now, the black ones, it was a different story. We won't even get into all that. But anyway, so my great-great-grandmother and great-grandmother, I guess they were the fortunate few, or a couple of them. And so they, I believe she was given the punch bowl, but not at the time of the emancipation. That would have been 1868. She got that punch bowl later. They must have remained friends or whatever. She got it in 1929. I also have some uranium glasses from my mother's mother that she inherited from my great-great-grandmother, which was my grandfather's grandmother and his mother. And they're uranium. They glow in the dark. I didn't even know they were uranium glasses until later, and they're from 1926. So I have all that stuff. Okay, but on my father's side, my grandmother, she had a corner table that's antique. I don't know where she got it from. And she had a china cabinet that actually fell apart when my aunt died. My aunt had inherited everything. And then my late aunt rather, because she died in 2019, she had a mid-century modern cadenza. That's what it's called. But some people would say it's a china cabinet, but it's called a cadenza. Anyway, it has a bar to it. And so when my aunt died in 2019, my cousin called me. She was like, I don't have room for this, but I don't want it to go to the curve. It's in perfect condition. So she asked me if I would take it. At the time I had the basement. I was like, sure, bring it, put it in the basement. And that's where it stayed. Well, because I didn't have a dining room at my old house, I had a nook, but it wasn't big enough to hold a cadenza and all that stuff. So it was in the basement. Well, when I moved here, I actually had a dining room right off of the kitchen. It's small, but it was big enough for the cadenza and the bar, and I bought a dining room table with the darker wood to match. In the meantime, my grandmother's corner table is right in the corner here in the living room, and then I had purchased an antique corner chair at a Goodwill store for a little of nothing, and it's one of those 3-leg corner chairs, that thing. I forget how much it was worth. But I paid $20 for it, but it was worth a few thousand, and it is in tip-top shape. I love it. So I have that in the other corner. One day I will show you all the antiques. Well, anyway, so my cousin knows that, you know, with me liking antiques, she said she called on me because she knew it would be cared for. She knew that no one else would care for it, and she would probably just have to throw it. Well, my grandmother's china cabinet, I have the bottom of that, and that's in my bedroom. That's where I keep all my ostomy supplies. Actually, it's like a cabinet now because the top part, my aunt after she died and they sold the house, my aunt died in the summer. They sold the house that winter, and they had to move the stuff from inside of the house into the U-Haul to bring it to me. And what happened was my grandmother's china cabinet, it disintegrated. Soon as it hit from the warm air into the cold air, the wood just disintegrated. Come to find out, you are not supposed to move old furniture like that, changing temperatures. It should be moved. It should stay the same temperature. If you take it from hot to cold or cold to hot, it could cause it to implode. So my cousin said before their eyes, it just started swelling, and then all of a sudden it just fell apart. So they brought the bottom, and I made use of it. I sanded the bottom down. I didn't do anything else to it. I left the patina. I know that's important. And I put a towel over the top of it, and the top of it, I have stuff up there, you know, like a little dresser in my bedroom, and it's right in the corner. It's a nice size, but it's not huge. And then the bottom part, I have all of my supplies under there and a few other things, because it has little shelves under there, and it's perfect. It is perfect for my supplies, and everything is neatly tucked away. Okay, so now on today, well, actually, remember my late cousin who passed away about a month ago? They found her deceased in her apartment, and now I know why. Anyway, because they didn't do an autopsy because, you know, she was just found deceased, okay? So they didn't go with the autopsy or anything, her sisters and everything. Well, my first cousin, the same one who gave me all the antiques for my aunt and my grandmother, she called me about a week after my cousin's funeral. She was like, she has two sisters left. One is in a nursing home, and the other sister lives out of state. And she said, I don't want anything to do with her apartment. I went in, I got the mink coat, and I'm going back home. And she said, she gave the key to my cousin and said, if you want anything out of there, you can go through it. She said, it is a hoard. And so we're thinking, okay, it was just junky or whatever. No, she was a hoarder. I had never seen a hoarder house or hoarder apartment in my life. It was a nice size apartment, but it was packed from stem to stern. Think of Hoarders, the TV show. I expected to find dead cats and everything else. We went in there today. We wore masks. I was double masked. We wore gloves and hazmat stuff. My cousin called me. She was like, we need to go through there. She was like, they're going to be cleaning it out. It has to be cleaned out by the first. She's like, I was told it's a hoard. So we're going to just look at the surface and see what's in there and get it and get out. Okay. So I was like, okay. I was like, so her sister's just giving you this. She said, take whatever it is you need or want, and then we can, you know, just leave. So my cousin wanted the family pictures because this is from my grandmother's side, and a lot of my grandmother's nieces and nephews and different ones that we were more distanced from, all those pictures were there. So we were able to gather all the pictures. So my cousin got the pictures. That was her main concern, getting the pictures, the family pictures. And so she told me about a week after my cousin died, she said she has this table from China that her husband had purchased for her, and he's been dead for about 13, 14 years. And she said that was her prized possession. She was like, that was the only nice thing in there that she kept up. Let me stop. Okay. Let me be nice. This is my cousin. Okay. Anyway, she was like, you might want it because I believe it's antique. I'm not sure. She's like, but you may want it. She was like, I cannot use it. She was like, but because you like unusual antiques, I want to see if you want it. So I was like, I don't know. I was like, I would have to see it. She said, it's a coffee table. She said, and it has these 6 stools around it. She's like, the way Frances had it set up was Francine, she was a twin. Her twin is Frances, and her name is Francine. In fact, I just named some French tarragon, those same names. Okay, no, I didn't. I named them Frances and Frances, the boy and girl. But yep, this is my cousin Francine, and then her twin sister was named Frances. Okay, anyway, so, or is named. Her twin sister is the one that's in the nursing home. Anyway, So I was like, I'll have to see it. I was like, cause I don't know, I was like, yeah, I like antiques, but sometimes you gotta stop when you gotta stop. And so I said, but I don't have a coffee table, so I'll come look at it. So today was the day. My cousin called me out the blue on yesterday. She was like, we got to be there by tomorrow. She's like, because the first is on Sunday. She said, so maintenance is going to be coming in first thing Monday to clear out the apartment. They got a job. They got a job. I hope they find some treasures up in there, because we just went to the surface. We got the family pictures. We were able to find all of her important papers, because she did have that in one spot. But everything else, like I said, from stem to stern, I don't think that place has ever been cleaned since she's lived there. And I understand she lived there for 10 years. It couldn't have been cleaned in that whole time. That's all I'll say about that, okay? Let me stop. But I walked out of there traumatized. Anyway, so we get up in there. I see the table. I had to find the 6 pieces to it because everything was buried. So I found that the table was a dirty mess. You could not see beneath the glass, but I knew it was a nice table, and I knew it was from Asia. I know that her husband had served in in Asia or whatever with the armed forces years ago, and he had brought the table back or had it shipped back from China during that time. And I think it was like in the early 60s. That story we had always heard, and he talked about it. So it was her prized possession. But anyway, it was dirty. My cousin was a chain smoker, so you could see the yellow from the smoke. You just didn't know, but I knew it was a nice table. It took 3 men. It's so heavy. It took 3 men. I'm getting ready to show you the table, y'all. Don't think y'all not going to see it. It took 3 men to lift my cousin's son, her husband, and a friend they picked up. It took 3 of them to lift the table. It took 2 of them to lift the glass that goes on top of the table. And of course, the stools, they carried that in. And so they got it here. It took me 2 hours. That's what I've been doing for the past 2.5 hours, cleaning the table. You have to be careful. You're going to see that it still has dirt on it. And number one, because I don't care how much I clean it, it's going to take a while before it is clean. And I want to research. I did do a little research on the table through online, and I got some information. I found out what it is. I found out how much some of them have sold for in auction. So when I saw the word auction, I was like, okay, it's worth something. Okay. It's got to be worth something. But this has just a wee bit damage, and I'll show it to you. But it could probably be repaired or whatever. But I'm going to enjoy this table. But anyway, I'm going to tell you what it is. It is actually called, mine is green. Now, the one online, it said that they were usually black. So online it's called a black lacquer mother of pearl oval coffee table set. This one is hunter green, so that's unusual in and of itself. I saw one online, and the one that I saw online, it was black, and it was beautiful, but it wasn't like this one. But anyway, it was hand painted in the Chinese courtyard design, and I knew it was hand painted. The top of it is like marble. The mother of pearl is set in like marble. It's some sort of stone. And then the bottom part is wood, and the wood would either be teak, T-E-A-K, or Philippine mahogany. I think this is more or less teak. The inlays and the artwork is painted in gold and mother of pearl. Your figures that's in the painting is in mother of pearl. Around the table is surrounded with inlays of mother of pearl. I thought it was ivory at first, but I was like, wait a minute. I told my sister that could be mother of pearl. And that's exactly what it was, or what it is rather. And then I found out, wait a minute, after I washed it and got the surface smoke off of it, I used some Scott's Liquid Gold to shine it up. Come to find out, it said that if it has an enamel finish, you can use furniture polish, and this does have an enamel finish, thank God. But it said it's preferable to use polished wax. So I'm going to get some men wax or something like that. Whatever it is, you can use the wax, the furniture. And then also it said, if you have to clean it, it said a damp microcloth, with, a mild soap. I'm going to use Murphy's oil soap to clean it the next time. I just used a mild soap today to get the smoke. I left the patina because you cannot, and the patina, like in all the crevices where you want to take it and scrape the dirt out with a knife, you better not do that. You will kill the value. Lots of times they can age pieces, and I learned that off of Antiques Roadshow. They can age pieces by the patina on the furniture itself, like in the cracks and crevices. And so I left all the patina. I was not trying to clean that out. So you're going to still see dirt. And then it has claw feet, it's 6 claw legs around the table because it's oval shaped. And then you have your stools. I actually set the one set of stools in a little circle because they're triangular shaped. But actually, when you fit them under the table, and I'm glad they had a picture online to demonstrate how it sets. So the triangle ones go to the sides of the oval, 2 on one side and 2 on the other, and they fit under the table perfectly. And then the wood part of the smaller tables blend right in with the wood part underneath the mother of pearl oval table, and it looks like one big piece. But the pieces, the extra pieces, are under the table and cannot be seen. You can just see the outside, which makes it look like the table is a lot longer than what it actually is. The table stands up a little high. Perfect coffee table. I just have to clear some of this stuff out of my living room because it's unbalanced right now. But I'll get it together as soon as this MS attack is totally gone. I'm going to get this living room. I see stuff that can be put away in closets and whatnot, because right now it's looking, especially with all this crochet stuff, I can get some of these baskets and different things put away so that the living room, and then I want to get some green throw rugs. Although my furniture is beige, it matches my furniture really well, but I want to get some green throw rugs to go down on the floor to match the table. And I think it would look really, really nice. And the other antiques, the corner table and stuff, that stuff is kind of behind things, so you can't really see that stuff. It doesn't really match, but it's going to match now. It's just there. Okay, so let me show it to you, and then we'll move on. Oh, did I finish telling y'all about it? No, I didn't. Okay, so you use wax to polish it. Okay, so your squares go in the middle underneath the table, and then the triangle parts go to the sides. And like I said, they had the picture to demonstrate it. They said that some of these, they made them anywhere from, they said most of them are mid-century modern. I know this one was purchased in the early 60s, so that would count as I think mid-century modern started like in the mid to late 50s and went up through the 60s, and then they went into something else after that. This is definitely mid-century modern, I think. Oh, I don't know, but y'all can look at it and y'all can tell me. And then it also said that it's inlaid. And what is an inlay, you guys? It said it has an inlay of precious stone. So, hey. Okay, but I'm going to show it to you guys, and I hope you can see it. I'm going to hold the camera. Actually, I'm going to take the camera off nope, because I'm going to cut it off if I do. I'm going to lower the tripod and close it up, and then show y'all the table and the pieces that go to it. I'm not going to set it up because there's some other things I want to do before I do that. I'm just going to leave, but I'm going to show you the pieces. Okay, so here is the table, you guys. Okay, you're looking at the tabletop. I did clean the glass as much as I could. My sister's going to come over. We're going to lift the glass up because it's almost as darn heavy as the table. This thing weighs some stuff. It took 2 to lift that glass, and of course we don't want to break it. So my sister and we're going to like slide it, and then I'm going to have to clean underneath the glass, but I did clean the top. You couldn't see none of this. You could not even see the table print. That's how bad it was. It was just caked with dirt, dust, and cigarette smoke. So this is, you can see the mother of pearl and you can see the and this is the I guess that's the inlay, the mother of pearl. It's all hand painted, and this is what it looks like. I hope y'all can see it. I'm just going kind of around it. Then you see the edging. I thought maybe that was some plastic stuff they glued on. That's hand painted. And I have y'all like right in it, but this is what it looks like. Now, the full view, if you can see on the side right here, you see the mother of pearl. This is mother of pearl. Now there is a chip on this piece of mother of pearl. That's the only one that has damage. And it goes all the way around the table, this mother of pearl. And then you have your carvings, and you can see the patina in there and whatnot. Then you see the claw feet. And excuse my rug, y'all. It doesn't match anything. It's just there. But you can see the claw feet. And this is some thick wood. It is solid. Hear how solid that is? And it is thick. Okay? I saw no markings on the table. And this here, I don't know what this stone is. Hear it? This is stone. And then the inside of the table, where the mother of pearl figures are and everything, it's stone. It's the same stone. Okay, so now here are the tables. I'm going to show you the damaged one. I just put them like this because I thought that was cute. So I guess if I wanted to make a little teeny tiny table, I could. Now, one of these, it has the two little eyes like that, and then the paint. But then the other one has the mother of pearl. And then same with those two. This is the damaged one. You can see how it looks at the top. And I think those are from cigarette burns, so that's going to have to be repaired. The tops are not all the way clean. As you can see, I just did a once over just to get the surface dirt off of them. I'm going to find out. I'm going to have to do some more research to find out how it's to be clean. I need to get it appraised and everything else, okay? Now, this table, this is the mother of pearl one. This is one of the square tables. So this is one of them. And then here's the other one without the mother of pearl. So these are the squares. So these go in the middle underneath the table. And then these go on the edge. In fact, I'll put one on the edge so you can see. So you match up the mother of pearl with the mother of pearl edge. And then the other edge, it has mother of pearl, but it's not, but the edge matches up to this, the evil eyes, as I call them. So you just put it like this. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So that's how this is how the corners look. I think I did that right. I don't know. I have to look again. I'm thinking I'm gonna just put it all underneath and just let these little things be out of view. I don't need all that around the table. I think because it all does fit in the middle. You just have to make sure that the squares are in the middle and then these are on the side. So I'm gonna get it all situated. So these will be out of sight. Okay. So, but I was just showing you how it looks. I guess it matches or whatever. Yep. So anyway, so that was my inheritance from a distant cousin. I knew her. Hold on. One more look, y'all. One more look at the top. I really love it. I'll tell you what, I just love the table. So I will take good care of it, get it appraised, and my sister, of course, she's coming over tomorrow to see it. She was like, ooh. She was like that. Yeah, ooh. So I sent her pictures of it, and she said she'll call me later to let me know what she thinks of it. But since then, I've done my research. So anyway, I think it's cute. And it's going to sit right here in the middle of my living room because it's actually a middle of the living room type of table. It's not centered yet, so I don't know how I'm going to get it centered, but we got it as close as we could to center it. So here it is. Okay, so, I've been on here. How long? Let me look. Oh, 39 minutes. Well, y'all, I'm doing good. Okay, so look for me. I said I was going to do that Q&A tomorrow, but I've been on entirely too much this week. entirely too much. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give it a break tomorrow, but I'm gonna come back on Sunday to do the Q&A simply because I'm planning on grilling again on Sunday. I don't want to do too much, so I just want to grill. Tomorrow I'll be planting in the greenhouse. So I'm going back to Creative Loops, to Chris's page, to get the questions, and then I'm gonna get them answered and everything, and then I'll be back on Sunday while I'm grilling, because it's going to be set it and forget it. I'm using my big smoker for Sunday. And so while my food is smoking on Sunday, then I'll come and in the back room, I'll do the Q&A video. Okay, you guys, so I'm going to get off of here because I've been on here entirely too long. So, yep, so tell me what you think about the table and whatnot. I'm happy to have inherited it, and it was a total surprise when my cousin told me about it. And when I saw it, even with the dirt, I was like, oh, this is something special here. Yeah, I'll take it. And so they followed me back home, and they brought it in and set it down. And so that's it. So now I own this big monstrosity. Maybe it's worth something. We don't know. But, yep. But I'm going to make it do what it does, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to put, since the glass is there to protect, I can use it to put things on top of it. I mean, I won't set a glass or anything on top of it, but I can use it, for whatever. But actually it's so beautiful. I don't want to I might put no, you can't even put a vase there because of the scenery, the art, and it's hand painted too. So it's just beautiful. I like it. I really do. Okay, you guys, so let me stop. I will talk to you guys later, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.